Welcome to the Jefferson College Spotlight here on JCTV. I'm Roger Barentine. Well, there's certainly a lot of excitement here at Jefferson College these days, a lot of positive changes taking place. And it's my pleasure today to have as my guest Jefferson College's new president, Dr. Raymond Cummiskey. Dr. Cummiskey, welcome
Thank
to
you, Roger.
the
Appreciate
Spotlight.
it.
Tell us a little bit about, if you will, yourself, a little bit about your family, maybe even a little bit about your professional background as it relates here to Jefferson College.
Well, let me start with my professional background. I am a St. Louis native, but I left to go to college and spent much of my career around the Midwest, but spent about a dozen years as a faculty member, then got into administration, first as a division chair, then eventually a campus dean, which is where I made the transition to community colleges, and then moved into upper administration, and finally several years ago became president of a college in southeastern Illinois, and then the opportunity here came up. So I landed here. So from a professional standpoint, I've just about done every job on campus, some perhaps better than others.
Don't we all? You're a family man, I suppose?
I am. My wife Vicki and I have been married almost 25 years. We have 3 children. My oldest son, Brian, is 22 and has just finished his bachelor's degree and started working on a master's degree. I have a son, 20, Logan, who I hope will be a Jefferson College student here in the fall, if I can get him to move up this way. And then I have a daughter, Carly, who's about to be 15 and will be attending Seckman High School.
Oh, so your hands are full.
My hands are very full.
Tell us a little bit about, if you will, the instance of you applying for the presidency at Jefferson College, what you knew about Jefferson, and more particularly what you were interested in terms of coming here as our new president.
Well, my interest in Jefferson College, comes back, probably about a year ago when my family was in the region and we stopped by to look at the college. I have relatives in the area, cousins who grew up in Festus, and so I knew Jefferson College, at least in a vague sense, and wanted to come out and see the college. Was literally walking on campus, just looking around when I ran into Dr. Wayne Watts, the outgoing president, and he had just announced, I think the night before, that he intended on retiring. And he made mention of this point, and I knew almost right away that I had to apply. Just the opportunity to come back to St. Louis to work at a college such as this. So I did, and lo and behold, some 6-7 months later, while I'm going through the interview process, had a chance to sit down with Dr. Watts in between interviews, and he opened his desk drawer and pulled out the business card that I'd given him, and remembered my visit on campus, and that's really what first nabbed me into it. Dr. Watts was very outgoing and talked highly of the college. Also tried to recruit my daughter to attend the school, so I knew right away he was a true believer in Jefferson College. My interest in the college from the start has been both professional and personal. I really wanted to have the opportunity to come back to St. Louis. I've always worked in colleges that serve small rural communities. Jefferson College is a great blend of that. You've got small communities that we serve and school districts that really rely on our working together to make the educational process work well. But you're in a growing area, an area that where the St. Louis region is reaching out to. You've got the niceties and the amenities that come with living near a metropolitan area. But there's still nothing better than that drive to work every morning as you roll into the hillside and it's quiet and the traffic's light, and so there's a lot to be said for what the college has to offer. At
this point, have you chosen a residence yet in the county?
We are renting in Imperial right now. My wife does run her own communications consulting business, and so she wanted to be closer to the city. And one of my interests, of course, is high-speed broadband, which she needs to do her business from home. So we've settled up there for right now, and it's a good mix. She's able to commute where she needs to, and my drive is very pleasant. So,
as you mentioned your connection to Jefferson County, you truly are no stranger. Not only have you been a college president, not only do you have family in the immediate area, but your mother is a well-known, or was, I should say, a well-known columnist for the Webster-Kirkwood Times. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. My mother was Cummiskey. She wrote for about 20 years for the Webster-Kirkwood Times. We spent much of our adulthood trying to deny most of what she put in her columns along the way. But my mother had 5 children. I'm the oldest. 4 of us went to college and majored in some kind of communications or English degree, journalism, something like that. But she was the one who really became the celebrity after raising her children, and really wrote an Irma Bombeck-like column. And that's one of the great things is I meet people in the community, and they talk about having read my mother's column, enjoying the stories, and really seeing how she touched their lives.
That's a pretty neat story.
Yeah.
You obviously had the opportunity, as you mentioned earlier, with Dr. Wayne Watts. A little bit of a unique situation here at Jefferson, that the outgoing president and the ingoing president had some time to learn from one another, a little bit of an overlap. What was that like for you in terms of the kinds of things you discussed with Dr. Watts, the learning curve, as it were, for you? Really a month-long process of getting up to speed so that you didn't have to necessarily do that on your own.
Absolutely. It's an incredible opportunity. I'm really grateful to have had the time with Wayne for a number of reasons. First of all, he was such a strong supporter of the college, and you couldn't have a better cheerleader and advocate for the college out there. Second of all, he had worked so hard during these tough economic times to make sure the college was in good shape. He really wanted to make sure that he was leaving a good legacy. And so he really worked hard to hand things to me in great shape. So as he explained the decisions that he made and why things were the way they were around the college, it really gave me great insight into what was important at the college. And it was very difficult coming in sometimes to learn about the culture and to understand the institution, particularly during the summer, which oftentimes can be a slower time. We don't see a lot of our home students. Faculty, if they're around, they're not around as much. There's just not as much activity. So it was a great way for me to understand the institution at a pace that wasn't out of control. It was also great because Wayne was able to introduce me to community leaders, state leaders. We went to a couple state meetings together, and it was really nice to have somebody sort of take me under their wing and say, okay, these are people that you want to get to know, and explain to me the relationship the different schools have together. And as I said, it's a very unique opportunity. Most presidents get, if anything at all, a day or two, and then you're sort of thrust into it.
Yeah, that's quite a luxury, I would suppose.
It really is. It's hard to explain how much it will benefit me, but in the months to come, because now I understand the school so much better and understand the decision making that went on, it really will shorten the learning curve.
Now, obviously, you've been on the clock, so to speak, since July the 1st as the president of Jefferson. Have you had time yet to establish what vision and what goals that you'll look for in terms of the institution?
I have, although that's still a work in progress. Quite obviously, generally speaking, the old adage is that presidents probably get too much blame and too much credit. So much of the goal-setting process is a collaborative approach, and we'll certainly be doing that in the months to come here at the college. We have a charge from the Higher Learning Commission to really work on our long-range planning, and so I've spent a lot of time sort of studying the history of the college and looking at the initiatives that we've taken over. And so some of the goals that we'll set early on are related back to what the visitation teams encourage us to consider, issues like diversity, working toward opening up communication processes, looking at our administrative structure, and really doing the things that are going to be necessary to take the college to that next level. We are also in, as we know, an incredibly difficult economic time, and public institutions aren't immune from that. The college's finances are in great shape, but they didn't get there easily, and we've asked people to make a lot of difficult sacrifices to get there. So we will have to look at that in terms of what it means for the college. I tend to be fairly optimistic. I look at challenges as really opportunities, and so this is an opportunity for us to sit down and really talk about what's the core center, the values of Jefferson College as a community, and decide what's going to be most importantly. And then lastly, I think when we look at where we are with Jefferson College, we've enjoyed immense enrollment growth. The county is growing. We've opened centers now in Arnold and High Ridge. We have an opportunity to expand further. We have some great opportunities in front of us in terms of growing the institution. And I think part of my vision or my goals for the college include how do we incorporate that so we don't lose the heart of what Jefferson College is, yet serve a growing mission that will really set a new course for the college. Simple things like online courses, which will change the face of the college for years to come.
Dr. Cummiskey, I would assume that part of being a president really is almost two opposites, if you will. There's the responsibility of what I would call being an inside president, that is running the day-to-day operations of the college, the academics, and then what I would term that outside president, and that is being visible in the community, making sure that you're hearing the needs and desires of those that we serve. How do you balance all of that in being a president of a school this size, being an outside and an inside at the same time?
Well, that's a good question, Roger, primarily because particularly with a school like Jefferson where we serve so many different communities, it could very easily take you away from campus on a regular basis if you were only an outside president. The balancing act is twofold. One, you have to be conscious of it. You have to not ignore one group to the benefit of the other. But secondly, you really have to understand that it's give and take. So, you know, when the legislators go back to Jefferson City, perhaps I spend more time in mid-Missouri. But at times when we have items here within the campus, as school starts, things like that, my priorities need to be here on campus. And it is a balancing act. It is important for the president to be out, to be seen to be the face of the college, to get a real sense of what the communities feel they need from the college. And to be a realist, to know that you can't meet everybody's needs, but somebody has to be sure to put forth what the college is trying to do and explain why we're taking the steps we are, and to sort of address issues as they come through. So it is a balancing act.
From what you've learned of Jefferson so far in the brief days of July, how would you describe this institution to someone either that has never been here or in some cases never used the services available at the institution?
Interestingly, I think the term was used heavily before I came here. I've heard a number of people talk about the college as being the jewel of the county. And everything I've seen, I think, really speaks to that, both in terms of the beauty of the area and the campus, but also in terms of the resources and the services that we provide. When you visit other college campuses, I think when you come back to Jefferson, you really learn to appreciate all that we have here. The different programs, the variety of the people and their interests, the ability now to have an academic schedule that puts you here, you know, perhaps only a couple days a week or every day, depending on what you need. The sports activities, the success we've had with some of our graduates, the stories that we hear from them. All of those factors combined, I think, really tell a great story about Jefferson County. We're also, you know, nestled here beautifully in the hills. It's a great place to get away from the city, if you will, but you're not all that far away. And we even have that carrying over with our center in Arnold, which is a beautiful facility. And the city and the college have worked well to make sure that we're complementing the hillside rather than just tearing it up. And we'll have an opportunity to eventually develop a campus up near the High Ridge area. And we'll try to maintain that same flavor. So it really is a nice blend of you know, shiny jewels. We shine in all areas.
For a final thought this afternoon, obviously you're no stranger to this format in terms of television and television production. Tell us a little bit about your former ventures in terms of your background in that area.
Well, I started my teaching career in mass media, communications, and English, and much of my teaching career involved television and radio. I did manage a cable television station and an FM radio station for the college I worked for at the time. And so I spent a lot of hours in TV studios like this one and in editing bays and in radio station dials, so really working the medium, as they say. And you know, it's a great way to teach both the profession, but it's a great outreach. It's a great way to present the college to the public who may not get to see it on a regular basis. And so I've worked with student programming for years, and you know, I'm so excited about having a station here because it's a great way to reach out to the people we serve and let them know what's going on at the college. It's a great resource.
Well, with that, our time's up today. Thank you for the visit.
Thank you, Roger.
Best wishes to you. I look forward to seeing you more often here on JCTV.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks. Well, there you have it, the very first interview from Jefferson College's new president, Dr. Raymond Cummiskey. And if you don't catch this interview here on Charter Cable Channel 21, be sure to catch us on the Jefferson College website at www.jeffco.edu. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Take care.